Hello, Lisa Richard here with Loving Energy Recharge. Just coming in to do a reading for our new moon in the sign of Cancer. I am a human design guide and a student of astrology and moving that into the gene keys. And one of the tools that I've really used for myself and my own journey is to look at what is known as the Wheel of the Year. It looks at the relationship between the 12 astrological bodies, your birth chart, the gateways that we all go through as a collective consciousness, and then using the inner alchemy within one's own journey, how the energy is showing up for the self to move through the shadow, which is the lower vibrating energies, into cultivating the gifts, which are building a deeper relationship with trusting the divine within yourself. So we are in this new moon in the sign of Cancer. Many of you may be feeling that through emotional intensity, whether that is anger, restlessness, pressure. There's so many ways to be feeling this, and it's going to be very unique based on whatever is going on in your own life and whatever is coming up within the body of you, your emotional body that is really here to move into the higher intellect, so that you have a chance to see it, to stay with it, to transcend it, and then to set yourself free. That is the journey. So a new moon being in the so-called darkness is kind of like coming back into the womb. It gives us an opportunity to look back at what you have just walked through. And when we look at patterns using astrology and human design and the gene keys, we can really look at the patterns in that collective energy to get a sense of what the teachings might have been and to reflect upon that within ourselves to do the self-actualization, to come into a greater awareness of what you may be personally going through. So let's take a look at some of this. Let's break it down together. Cancer season is governed by the moon. So on June 21st, when we moved into Cancer season, the moon came into its divine energies, and it is our governing energy, which means the aspects of your emotional body, your feminine, your intuition, that was leading the way. Cancer season is the symbol of the archetype of the mother, the archetype of the mother. So the mother is all about nurturing and belonging and that deep intuition. So emotional energy is a great sensitivity. And sometimes we have not been taught the power of staying with our emotions and what the emotions can teach us in terms of deepening our intuition, giving us the heads up, right? So a lot of times we end up self-abandoning or self-protecting, or we jump really quickly into wanting to nurture somebody else, or perhaps even stop whatever it is that they're going through. A lot of times it's simply because we have not been taught within our own body that it's okay to witness these things going on in others. It's okay to witness them going on within ourselves. In fact, it is a great act of love, because when you look at it from a higher perspective, from the eyes of that divine mother, whatever is coming up within your body, your emotions, is asking for healing. So that is the grace of love. That is the aspect of knowing that you are ready to sit with this, to allow it to speak to you, to guide you, to reveal a deeper truth within yourself, to question some of the old stories, the old narratives, the old conditionings, the old patterns. And just like the mother grows through the different stages of its own evolution, When you come into the wisdom of that crone energy, that higher guiding, mothering aspect, you're looking through that with the lens of your life experience and knowing that, every drama in life does not require your presence. Every so-called urgency is not truly an emergency. So we start to practice a lot more discernment as we come more settled within to our bodies, as we come more aware of the different energies that are moving through. And this new moon is really allowing us an opportunity to do just that. It's an invitation to sit still, regardless of the pressures that are going on, to take a look back at the symbolic journey and to really consider for yourself how you have traveled through, what you have integrated from that experience, and to put yourself into that alignment to continue the journey through Cancer season, because we're not done yet. And then to eventually greet the next season, which will be Leo, bringing in the governing of the sun, which is the divine masculine. So we have opposite energies that unfold for us during the summertime. And if we don't embody the feminine, the intuition side, the moon, the deeper aspects of ourselves, well, when we come to meet Leo, the sun, which is taking that energy then out into the world, doing something with it, well, it's very easy then to move out of alignment, to stay in a program, to stay in an old story, to stay as that zombie, to stay as that performer. I don't know about you guys, but I can't do that anymore. It is now a deeper call into not abandoning the self, but staying with the self, staying with that uncomfortability, looking at the patterns and then choosing. Do I want to keep walking this same pattern? Or do I want to flip it and evolve it so that I can move into the higher aspects of what the energy within that pattern is offering? And this is something that is there for each and every one of us. So our journey through Cancer season, our reflection going back, looking at how the moon governs us, how we're brought deeply into the body at this time, feeling our feelings, feeling our emotions, listening to the intuition, listening to how your body talks to you. We started Cancer season on June the 21st. That brought us into the energy of the summer solstice. And when you're using your human design or your gene keys body graphs, this brought us into Gateway 15. It's known as the love for humanity. It is the expression of how personally you are open to loving humanity or not. So how accepting are you of diversity, cultures, languages, different ways of doing things? And the realization of the importance to that I've kind of felt within my own self, it could be different for you. But what I've noticed is my own judgment, my own reactions, my own ideas of what belongs or doesn't belong really came back into myself of embodying conditionings and abandoning pieces of my own truth that didn't feel safe enough to belong. And if you look back to your own journey and how you have been raised, how you've moved through society, school systems, social peers, into the workforce, whatever that dynamic was for you, how many aspects of your truth, your true personality, your true mannerisms, your true way of expressing yourself, how much of that did not feel safe enough to stay present? How much of the narrative of adapting the self, performing the self, then came online in order to so-called fit in? And that is a really deep emotional journey that a lot of us embark on when we go through a spiritual awakening and we start to feel how we drift so far away from that true self, the natural self that has always been present. And sometimes that starts to come with a lot of sadness and a lot of feeling lost. Those are your body's indicators of drawing your attention back towards reclaiming who you've always been. Just like we look out to Mother Earth and we see the wildflowers and we embrace the different blooms at different times, different colors, different fragrances. The world is so enriched in a landscape from the natural world that shows us a reflection of who we are. So it was an invitation to come back into you, to love humanity, to accept humanity, which means to accept yourself, to come back into your natural rhythm. So we moved through the shadow at that time of what was known as dullness, really looking at where your life just didn't feel right anymore. It didn't have any energy. It didn't have any enthusiasm. It just felt blah. That again was an indicator to look at, okay, well, what are you attracting in that relationship by continuing to do the same things over and over again? And that could be having the same thoughts, carrying out the same actions, doing life in repeat. And how can you start to change your own magnetic frequency by engaging more in life itself? So getting outside, changing up your routine, inviting back in things that start to bring in more joy, more excitement, more color, more vitality for yourself. And again, this could be exploring things that you normally would not do, or you might feel uncomfortable doing because it's uncomfortable a lot of times doing things on your own. We're used to seeking the approval of others. We're used to getting someone to come and participate with us. But Cancer season is about the home. The home is the vessel of you. The water is in your body. The wisdom is in your cells. So that personal journey, that summer solstice, that blooming into who you are starts by coming back into you, to find your joy, to look at where change is needed in your life, to really start to build on that foundation. Cancer season is also very symbolic of that fourth house. We talked about its relationship with the family, the home, the ancestors, but you can also see that as the roots of the tree that are going into the ground, right? So if we're not ready to work on that foundation of ourselves, to stand on our own 2 feet, to know how we're showing up, to be very conscious of what we are building, which means what are we thinking into creation? And how do our thoughts then move out into the world as action that then creates the reality that is around us? So you are the architect, you are the mindful co-creator with the higher self to bring the fullness of this life into existence. Now, as we continued that journey into Cancer season, we went through 3 activations down in our root center. The root center in your human design body graph is right at the very bottom. It is here to move through the pressure in the form of stress as a means for us to evolve. So you might have been feeling a lot of pressure, like you got to hurry up, you got to get things done, you got to get moving. And this is where looking at your own personal birth chart, your human design chart, is key for your own self-awareness. Why? Because if that appears white in your chart, it's known as undefined, you're a sponge for the collective energy around you. So when that is being stimulated in the form of stress, this pressure to hurry up and move fast and get things done, if you're feeling that within your own self, amplified because you are connected to the collective consciousness, you're going to find yourself moving at a pace that is reactive to the energy instead of inviting in that discomfort, that pressure, that feeling, and allowing the intuition with your own body to say, okay, there's a lot of pressure going on right now, but whose pressure is it? And how do we best use this for the highest good? So if you are somebody who had that center white, undefined, or maybe even open in your personal design, and you were just feeling like you had to go, 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 but at the same time, perhaps feeling absolutely exhausted and tired and frustrated, and just like, I just want to get this done so I can relax. Well, here's the key to that. It's never going to get done because it was never your pressure to begin with. So the more you try to hurry, the more you try to clear the plate, the more just keeps coming in. It's only when we allow ourselves to come into the stillness, which was the very first gate activation through gate 52, the mountain, inviting in the serenity, the stillness, being with yourself, looking at that energy of stress, looking at your breath. If you had a tendency to be shallow breathing, that was your indicator that you are in the lower vibrating energy. Now, this is something to be celebrated because at any time, you can check in with your breath, regardless of the season you're in, and you can notice, am I moving too quickly? Am I breathing too fast? And if so, can you come into stillness? Can you be the mountain? Can you bring your breath all the way into your feet, planting down those roots of yourself, grounding yourself into your foundation, inviting in whatever feelings are present with you to arise, noticing where the pressure is, and simply asking, is this my pressure? And if it's not, invite in those yawns. Yawns are beautiful ways that the body naturally gets rid of extra energy. You might even want to just kind of massage your shoulders a little bit or just plant those feet on the ground. This is where we get wisdom. Think of the mountain. Think of how many times it has witnessed, time after time again, different challenges, different turmoils, or moments of just feeling chaotic. It cannot run from it. It has to stay still. And in that stillness, it's come to the realization that every moment does pass. There's always a calm after a storm. There's always a solution to every problem. There's always another day. There's always another perceived urgency. So it starts to become more mindful. And when you learn to become more mindful, as the great mother would teach her children, be mindful. Be mindful of what you're taking on. Be mindful of where your energy is going. Be mindful of your body. Be mindful of your breath. So we had an opportunity in that to really move into the higher aspects in here, which was inviting in stillness. Stillness in the sense of, the relaxation that comes when you recognize you don't have to move as fast as everybody else if that is not correct for you. You don't have to go in that direction that everyone else feels to be going in if that doesn't feel correct for you. You don't have to stay in the same framework of productivity that others seem to be in if that rhythm does not feel right to you. And that brought us back to those teachings of the summer solstice, where it was asking us, can you embrace your rhythm? Can you embrace your contribution to humanity? Can you accept our differences, our uniqueness? We're not all the same. We don't think from one mind. We have so much rich diversity, as do you. So, can you come into your own acceptance of that wisdom? Now, the interesting thing is after that mountain, we then hit the full moon in the sign of Capricorn. Well, Capricorn is really symbolic of the 10th house of your career, your public image. It is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is all about discipline, but it also teaches responsibility and long-term goals. So if you were to look at that through the energy of stress and shallow breathing and who am I and how do I fit into this world and how do I get more done and everybody's speeding up and I better jump on board and I don't want to miss out, how much would that exhaust the body? How much more would that keep you trapped? Capricorn's got those horns. Those horns are so symbolic in many different ways. They can become the way that we force ourselves into the world. They can spiral us up into a higher enlightenment. Think of everything as symbolic. They are invitations for you to explore and to feel this within yourself. Coming out of that full moon in Capricorn, still down in the root center, we hit what was known as gate number 39, provocation. This was the energy at the lower vibration of noticing how things would push your buttons. So being emotionally provoked, people irritating, systems irritating, words irritating, whatever that was. And knowing how you may react to those or what you would do when faced with different things that just push those buttons. Again, these are opportunities where life is designed to provoke us, is designed to tease us, is designed to make us uncomfortable. So again, we can look that in the face and go, okay, why did that trigger me? Why did that throw me off balance? And how can I sit again with that uncomfortability, inviting back in the mountain, the stillness, staying present with the tone of voice, the person, the situation. And instead of the mind creating all sorts of stories, feeding that energy, rising above it, and looking at the gift in there, which is dynamism, opening up your energy channels, breaking through the blockages, those triggers, to allow your energy to expand, your heart to expand, your willingness to stay present and not abandon yourself by letting what is provoking you teach you. What are you learning about yourself? What are you learning about your sensitivity? How can you nurture yourself with compassion? Where are healthy boundaries required? Where is a truth arising within you that perhaps you need to speak to yourself in order to fully integrate it before moving into action? So this invited in some big energy flows again, and not easy. It's not easy to go through the emotions. It's not easy to look at the things that provoke us and trigger us. It is so easy to stay in the victim of they did this, the world did this, society did this. It's not so easy to look at the self and go, okay, what still needs to be nurtured within so that those words no longer trigger, so that I don't abandon the self. I don't just jump in to try to rescue or save or fix, but I can stay present with my energy, trusting the energy, and allowing the higher self to guide where it's appropriate to do so. So again, noticing the breath, that shallow breathing is an indicator that there is a need to breathe deeper, to expand the energy field, to root yourself down, to be the mountain, to stay with what's provoking you, and not self-abandon, but to invite in the wisdom of what it is here to teach you. So the higher ones in there was looking at what emotion is here to be healed. If you're provoked by something, there's something coming up because it's ready. You're ready to advance through it and beyond it. Imagine if what used to provoke you no longer fazed you any longer. If that person didn't irritate you, didn't get under your skin, if you just were like, yeah, it's not my problem. And not from anger, but just from the sense of freeing yourself from how your body reacts to that. And that can only be done when the body feels safe enough with you, because you will not abandon it. You will stay with it to allow whatever is surfacing to surface, using the breath to invite in the clarity, to invite in the element of air, to grow the roots, to embody yourself into the earth, to raise up your branches like the tree, to invite in that higher wisdom, and to allow yourself to expand in the truth of who you are. We then moved into our third root activation, gate number 53. This was all about new beginnings. So when we have emotional clarity, when we are present with ourselves, we're invited into a new beginning from this point of having reached a deeper depth of emotional maturity within ourselves, not self-abandoning. Imagine all the potentials of where life will take you from this place of standing in your truth, this place of your own serenity, your own ability to navigate through the storms by trusting in yourself, trusting in your wisdom, trusting in your ability to move through the energies. Well, at a shadow level, because there's always a low vibrating energy within every gate, every teaching, because we're here to learn how to embody all of it, not to get rid of the shadow, but to accept that that shadow is always going to be there, as is the light. There's opposites to all energies. So we were facing the shadow of immaturity. And immaturity in this sense is abandoning those emotional reactions because it is unable or unwilling to deal with it. And that's not a judgment. That is a loving reality of where you are at when something triggers and your body goes, I can't. You don't force the body to do it anyway. You don't force the child to go out into the world when it is petrified. The archetype of the mother, the nurturer, stays and holds the child, stays with the self, wraps the blanket around the self and says, I will stay with you until you are ready to move through this. Now, we also look at how our immaturity in the sense of not wanting to deal with something then can get us really entrapped into creating our own comfort zones, which means our own self-protection. There is a difference between inviting in the divine mother to comfort, the higher aspects of your wisdom to comfort, and the heart self-protecting, meaning I can't go there because that hurts. I can't be with that person because that hurts. I can't engage in life because that hurts. those then entrap the self. So imagine the seed that never has the opportunity to crack itself open, to come out of the darkness, to then share its flowering with the world. Well, that is what we do to ourselves. Every time we abandon ourselves, we protect ourselves, we keep ourselves in the comfort zone, we keep things so that they're predictable. We want to have assurance, we want to have guarantee, we want to fit in. But every time we do things that are not of our highest truth, we are mushering ourselves away. And the body feels that. And we are at a point in our evolution where that's no longer acceptable. The divine powers that be, Mother Earth in her own ascension, is kicking those seeds up, whether you are ready to or not, and forcing things above ground, forcing things into the light of the day and saying, hey, it's time. It is time to take accountability, to take responsibility, to lovingly evolve yourself so that you do feel safe and secure enough to participate as a co-creator with the world. You are needed in this co-creation. So our gift within that time was, again, expansion, right? Expanding yourself up, not hiding your light, allowing yourself to be authentic. So not everything is perfect. We're not always going to have good days. It is staying with the honesty of how you feel, moving through your feelings, moving through those conversations, honoring your energy, honoring your rhythm, trusting in your own divine pattern. This then brought us into moving from the root up into the throat center. So yesterday we just moved up into the throat. Expression, communication, metabolism, but also moving into action. So now we're starting to express everything that was learned through that root center activation, through that journey through the full moon of Capricorn, and pausing at the very start of this new energy, this forward expression of the self, through what is known as the gate of details. This is the I know, right? So it's the knowing coming from the mind, the patterns, the know-it-all, the avoider, the one that is conforming. Or are you ready to open up through the throat, through a deeper listening to what the body wisdom is teaching you, through what the governing forces have been teaching you, using this new moon energy to do your own reflection of what you have been traveling through, to integrate your wisdom, to check back in with your own alignment, your own naturalness, your own breath, your own foundation, your own values, your own joy, your own inner wisdom, and allowing that to then start to be expressed through the truth of who you are. So we move away in this week's energy from the shadow of I know, I know, I know, I know. The continual story that we keep telling ourselves, putting on those blinders and being willing to take that all away, to be very impeccable with our choices, our decisions, our thoughts. So clear thoughts, clear emotions, clear integrity, practicing discernment, being willing to filter through the vibrations of the earth to notice, well, what is of that shadow, which means it's coming from fear, fear of missing out, fear of not fitting in, fear of judgment. What's coming from that in the self-expression? And how do I align myself to the divine expression of truth? Giving yourself the opportunity to bring clarity to your own experiences. Now we're going to be staying up in that throat center for the rest of Cancer season. And then we welcome in Leo. We welcome in the divine masculine with the sun. We welcome in opportunities to look at leadership. What does that mean? How are you your own leader within the world? What are you following? Where is humanity going? And what is your own personal role in that co-creation for what is of the highest good of humanity? And how do we know what's of the highest good of humanity if we don't even know what's for the highest good of the self? So this stays with the self to know that every choice, every decision, every small detail matters, and it matters significantly. Your purpose? Go live your life. Go find your joy, find your happiness, allow your flower, your presence, your authentic expression to be a gift to the world. We're not here to fix or change anyone else. We're not here to get involved with anyone else. Stay in your lane, which means stay with your own energy. Stay with nurturing your truth, your values, your integrity, your self-confidence, all of that, because you will be surprised by how your authentic expression, your presence, your energy field naturally invites other people magnetically to learn and grow through that as well. It is the old saying of we're here to walk the talk. We're not here to tell others what to do. We're here to be walking, living examples of embodied wisdom. I'm just starting my journey. Maybe you are well on your way already. Maybe you are just beginning. It really doesn't matter because we're all different seeds designed to open and express ourselves according to our own truth. But regardless, if you found this video today, I'm honored to walk with you. I am excited for what this energy is going to bring. I'm excited for this time of accelerated growth. I'm excited that we have all these potentials to look at these various birth charts and to blend together so many different modalities that are available to us. And most importantly, I'm excited for the gift of self-actualization, which means knowing that nobody can tell you who you are and what you are here to be. You get to discover that as I get to discover that. And that is the gift of self-empowerment. That is what this journey of being a light worker is all about, of remembering your light and sharing that gift with others. Namaste. The light in me sees the light in you. Happy new moon in the sign of Cancer. I hope you take this time to integrate, to look at what Cancer season has brought to your personal life this far, and how much more potential is still on its way. Maybe bringing forward some alignment for yourself, some remembrance of the truth for yourself, and perhaps permission to let go of a lot of things that you've been carrying that, quite frankly, was never yours. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.